All right, you guys, good Thursday morning, my favorite day of the week. And it's my favorite day because I get to hang out with all of you guys. To start our mornings off right, doing this learning and networking all about real estate. So, couple of like little housekeeping things. Cameras on. We play full out here. We are going to network. Turn your cameras on so we can see your face. It also helps the speaker know if what he or she is saying is like landing correctly, or if you have a confused look on your face, he will know to rephrase what he's saying or to clarify. Um, so we also don't let note takers in because they mess up our breakout rooms when we get into those. So that's kind of the rules and the layouts. Oh, one more rule: if you are not the intentional person speaking, please keep yourself muted, because as soon as we think that we are so quiet and no interruptions, the doorbell rings, the dog barks, something happens that everybody else hears and it interrupts the speaker. So muted on, unless you are the intended speaker. So today, and I know that I saw him come in. Today, Gus Castro is going to share with
Hey,
us.
Debbie,
Okay, I heard
I'm over
you. I
here.
see you.
I'm
Oh,
over
oh,
here.
am I? I'm on.
Can you see
Oh,
me?
there you are. There you are.
Hey,
Excellent. Okay, so I am going to pin you or spotlight you. So, Gus, thank you for being here. And you are going to talk to us all about circle prospecting and how, like, first of all, what is circle prospecting? Maybe I should let you tell us who you are first, but then that's what I want to know. What is circle
for
prospecting?
sure. Hey guys, well, Gustavo Munoz Castro, folks call me Gus, kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. I wanted to say, first off, Debbie, holy cow, this group is huge now. It's been a while since I joined. It used to be 30 people, 25, 30 people, when I was around. You guys have done an amazing job. Shout out to some of the OGs. Hey, Peggy. Hey, Chris. Go Chiefs. But holy cow, this is really amazing. But I am, a real estate agent, Microsoft engineer turned real estate agent back in 2013, so a little while ago. Been licensed since 2010. Been in real estate for a few years now. And in 2015, I started this company, Power ISA, where we help people, hire virtual assistants in Mexico and other parts of Latin America to help them with calling. That's basically it. I discovered this role on my team in Seattle. My home market was Seattle, Washington. And that's how it kind of blew up. I built the team in Mexico. People wanted to hire people there, and I've been helping them ever since. And I went full time into this business in 2016, so it's been almost 10 years, doing this full time. 10 years ago, this summer it was 10 years ago that I started this company. So it's been definitely a while. And one of the first things we did for folks was Circle Prospect. Or as I like to call it, the script that's booked over 3,000 listing appointments for our clients, right? And that it seems like a massive number, 3,000 listing appointments. When we started the company, we were doing 50,000 outbound calls per day. Okay, every day, Monday through Friday, 225 days of the year, we're doing 50,000, outbound calls for Circle Prospect. So, that's why those numbers, can get so big. But in the early days of my company, that's all we did. That was the number one script we used, and that's why we were able to rack up, so many of these great numbers. So what's this not about? This isn't about expireds, can't calling expired listings, cancel listings for somebody. No, it's not that. This talk is about Circle Prospect, right? This Circle Prospect. And why Circle Prospect? Okay. So I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. When I first started in the business, I was with Keller Williams, and if anyone has ever been part of KW, I think a lot of agents were, back in the day. It is a prospecting based company. So a lot of what they teach is about get on the phone and make business happen, right? So I learned Circle Prospect through Keller Williams. And at first I'm like, okay, I tried calling expired listings. I tried calling for sell by owners. That was really hard, guys. This is back in 2013, a lot easier than it was today. Like, it was a lot easier to calling expired listings back then. It just didn't jive with me, didn't go with my personality. When I discovered Circle Prospect, that is the number one list script I ever used, right? I could sit down. for 3 hours on an automatic dialer and talk to almost 100 people, right? In about 3.5 hours. And if people ever took the old Bold class in Keller Williams, Bold 1.0, they would have a challenge every week to go, hey, who can make 100 contacts in one day? I could do it in 3 hours. Okay, sit at my desk. And I actually stopped doing that contest because it was just people thought I was cheating. It couldn't be possible that I could just do it every single week because I discovered this. Right, Circle Prospect is very efficient. It's a very fast way to get in touch and have a conversation with homeowners. Okay, and it's also very scalable. What do I mean by that? Once you start doing it, once you start closing deals from Circle Prospecting, you can actually hire someone to help you make the calls. That's not always true with the calling. That takes a lot of skill, like expired, like FISBO. If you're an agent that calls expired and FISBO, that's great. It's a great way to build a business. It's just very hard to replace yourself and to scale that up because it's usually you that are making the calls throughout the process. Okay. So why do I think this is successful? Because I've seen it, right? This is Marlene Cedeno. She's out of Hawaii. She closed 26 deals last year from Circle Prospect in Hawaii. Very high price market, very difficult market to break into. 26 deals from Circle Prospect. And this is Wyatt Parker. He's out of Southern California. 19 million last year from Circle Prospect. From Circle Prospect. So again, these aren't one of the myths about circle prospecting is that it doesn't work in all these different. If you're in a high price market, you can't do circle prospect; it won't work. Hawaii and California are the number one and I think number two highest price markets in America. Okay, states. So yes, it can work even in those really difficult states. This is Tori Drake out of Denver, built his business on Circle Prospect, and this is Carlos Gonzalez out of San Antonio. 2 listings per month from Circle Prospect. Okay. Just talking to people every single day. So, what do you need to get started? That's what you guys are here for, right? So, I'm going to jump right into this. You need a really good script. All right. But here's the good news about the script for Circle Prospect. It's a very simple script. It's a very easy script to learn. All right. And there isn't just one, which is why I like it so much. It's not just one script. My favorite versions of this script is just sold, right? And I can show you. You can just pick up the phone, right? Drop a pin. This is why it's called Circle Prospect. You drop a pin on a map on a listing you recently sold, or your team just recently sold, or the Royal We, your brokerage just recently sold, right? And you drop a pin on that home, and you call around it. You draw a circle around that area, and you call every single neighbor around there. It can be 500 neighbors, 1,000 neighbors, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, right? You decide how far out you want to go. And you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be a mile out. It can be 5 miles out if you want. The closer it is, the better, right? I don't recommend doing sessions that are single dialing sessions that have more than 1,000 or 2,000 homes in there. Then you start to lose, proximity. It doesn't make a lot of sense because the script is this. Hey there, Debbie. This is Gus with ABC Realty. Guess what? We just sold it. Well, the way I like to start these calls is Debbie, before you hang up, a little bit of a pattern interrupt. Before you hang up, Debbie, just I want to tell you something real quick. We just sold a property on 123 Main Street, a few blocks down, right down the street from you. I just want to let you know we had a couple buyers left over from that property, and they're still looking for homes in the area. Do you know anyone that might be thinking of relocating at some point, maybe in the next year, right? We're trying to look for homes just like that one. Do you know anyone that might be thinking? Thanks for considering that. Debbie, how about yourself? Have you ever thought of maybe moving somewhere? Or, Debbie, is this like your forever home? You're going to stay here forever? Ask the question, right? And you'd be surprised. You're going to get a chuckle from that line, right? You're going to be okay, well, because the easiest thing to do, folks, is for them to hang up on you. Like click buy. That's very simple. That's a very simple outcome, right? But if you try to insert a little bit of humor, a little bit of disarming comments in there, they might actually go, who is this? Like, what's going on? Like, this doesn't sound like a typical telemarketing or a robocall that I get every day, right? What's it about? They might actually pay attention to you, right? Like that pattern interrupt is so important. Hey, before you hang up, Debbie, I'm going to come clean. I'm a real estate agent. Is that okay? I have one quick question for you. That's it. Is that all right? Great. I just sold a property on 123 Main Street. I had some buyers left over. I'm trying to help them out. Debbie, can you help me help them? Who do you know that might be thinking of selling? Right? And you can go around and riff on this script as many times as you want. That you want to follow that structure though. Pattern, interrupt, statement, and you want to ask them straight up. You got to tell them who you are. You got to tell them what you want. Because those are the two questions they've got. Who are you and what do you want? And be quick about it, right? Within the first 15, 20 seconds, you've got to answer those two questions. Debbie, this is who I am and this is what I need. Can you help me help these buyers? Since that's coming from help, you're asking for help. I like that script a lot, the just sold script. I really like that. And if you don't have a listing you just recently sold, get creative. Something your team sold, something your brokerage sold, something your friends sold, because I really like that script. It's the most successful one we had. But it's not the only one, right? You might not have a listing or your team or your brokerage in an area. You might not have one. Okay. Perfect. That's fine. What you probably do have in your CRM, in your database, is buyers looking for properties. You probably do. And if you don't have that, go do that first. Find potential buyers. Find them, right? They're in your network. They're in your old leads in your CRM. They're somewhere. Okay. Generate buyers. And then you can do the same. Drop a pin on that neighborhood, the one you have buyers for, right? A city, a town, a zip code. Give them a call, and the script. I call this "We Have a Buyer" script. Okay, so we have a buyer variation. Hey there, Debbie. Before you hang up, I just got one quick question. I'm helping 3 buyers try to find a home in this area, and I'm canvassing the neighborhood. Debbie, do you know anyone that might be thinking of selling? That's it. I have 3, but you're already distinguishing yourself from every other agent in the market in the eyes of this consumer. Okay, you're distinguishing yourself because you're not just calling to ask for something. You have buyers. Okay, and in a lot of these markets, folks, buyers are at a premium. Buyers are valuable, right? You have buyers, and you're just looking for properties to show them. Do you know anyone that might be thinking of selling? Okay. Oh my goodness. No, there's a lot of properties in the market. Yeah, but they don't like those. Okay. They would have, if they liked the properties that were on the market, they would have bought them already. I'm trying to look for something bigger, better, and whatever variation you need. Right. So who do you know that I should know? How about yourself, Debbie? Have you ever thought of relocating for any reason? Or are you going to stay in this home forever? Is your forever home? And if they don't hang up on you and they don't say no, have a conversation with them. That's where the real estate agent comes out, guys. Because I know you guys on this call. Holy cow, there's like 90 people on this call. On this call, there's like of this 90 people, there's probably 87 people that can have a conversation with someone about real estate. I know you guys can. You guys have that. Like we wouldn't have gotten in the industry if we didn't like talking about real estate, right? I know you guys can have a conversation about real estate with anybody. That's where this kicks in now. Oh, Debbie, well, this is not going to be your forever home. Tell me more about that. Why not? This is a great neighborhood. You have no idea how I'm struggling to find potential sellers here. What's got you thinking of maybe relocating at some point? Tell me more, right? Curiosity. Just approach it with curiosity and have a real conversation with them, have a real connection with the person. That is it, folks. That is the script. That is the whole process. And don't worry if you didn't, get that. I actually have the script written down that I'll share with you guys. Debbie, we can send it out later, or you can drop it in the comments in the group. Like a little link to this presentation and the script. So you don't have to take any notes, any screenshots. You guys can just keep it. But it is as simple as that. It is as simple as that. Okay, just putting out the main goal, right? The interrupt pattern. You don't just want to say, hey, this is Gus with ABC Realty. Click. The next thing you're going to hear is hang up, right? Like, hey there, Debbie. Before you hang up, I just have one quick question for you. You have to mix it up, guys. This is 2025. People don't want to receive an unsolicited call. Okay. That's just the way it is. You gotta stop. You gotta stop the scroll. You gotta stop the hang up. Okay. Pattern interrupt. Say something, and what really helps is something humorous, like something self-deprecating. Debbie, I'm a real estate agent. I'm sorry, but I am. I got to come clean with you. I just have one question to ask you. Is that okay? Don't be mad at me. Don't hate me. I have one of my clients. Literally, that's what they say. Don't be angry at me. Is that okay? I'm sorry. They apologize, and they're like, "Who's apologizing?" The person on the other line is like, "Who's up? What are you apologizing for?" Like they're laughing, like this doesn't make any sense. Well, go for it. Sure, you got 10 seconds. Go, and they'll at least listen to you. Okay, they'll listen to the pitch, And then you can ask them, okay, great. Have you thought about, I have buyers? Find a way to tell them you have buyers. In the market right now, we're recording this in September, 2025. In a lot of these markets, buyers are important. Buyers are interesting, right? If you have buyers, you have leverage. If you have buyers, you have power. Okay. Sellers will listen to you if you have potential buyers. So start the conversation there and then just ask the question. Have you ever thought of relocating? Well, I have, but the market, but this, but that. Have a conversation with them. That's the starting point. It's not the ending point. It's the starting point that builds the relationship that then can get you that listing. Okay. So how are we doing on time? Okay, a few more minutes left. Great. Like I said, pattern interrupts before you hang up. I'm a real estate agent. Don't hate me. This is another one I really like. Debbie, I know you'd never sell this home in a million years, but you know what? I'm trying to help out my buyers. I just have to ask, would you ever consider relocating in the next few months, in the next year or so? Just curious. Like you would never move, right, Debbie? This is your forever home, isn't it? If they don't hang up and they don't say no, that's your foot's in squarely in the door. Okay, have a real human conversation with them, and let's see where that goes. All right, cool. There's this concept, that we teach the folks that call for us. That's called getting to the three no's. Okay, so because it's not enough to just ask the question. I'm going to give you an example, right? This takes a little bit of practice. Anyone can make a call and get to the first no. Would you like to sell your home? No, bye. That doesn't take any skill. Okay, just say the script and that you get to the first no very easily. To get to the second no, you need a little bit of practice. To get to the third no, you need some skill. Okay, you need to really know what you're doing. And this is what I mean. Hey, Debbie, have you ever thought of selling your home? No, not really. Okay, another question. Like follow that no with a question. Debbie, I'm just curious. Do you currently own or do you rent this home? Oh, I own or I rent, whatever it is, right? I rent. Oh, well, then I'm sure you've thought about, buying a home at some point, right? No, okay. You get down to the no tree. And if they're a homeowner, Debbie, have you ever thought of getting something larger, something smaller, relocating to another area, different school district? Tell me anything like that. Okay, no. Okay, great. You got to be prepared for those no's, right? You got to be prepared. What's the next question? What's the next question? What's the next question? Because sometimes, folks, and this happens to me too, we have the reflexive no. We're not even listening to the question. We just say no. Do you want something? No, I don't want anything. You go into the department store. Can I help you? No, don't help me. I need help actually, but you're asking the wrong question, right? You're asking the wrong question. Do you need some help? No. If I'm looking at things, hey, can I bring you a different size? Oh, sure. Right. If you ask the wrong question, you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay. This is what I mean about getting to the third no. You've got to have a couple questions up your sleeve. And this isn't the script, by the way. It says what questions to ask to make sure the conversation doesn't end right away. Got to keep them on the line for a little bit to make sure you're asking the right question, okay? Or that they're even listening. A lot of folks cannot hear you the first 5 seconds. They're like, what? They're trying to see do they even recognize the voice? And then they don't. They might not even listen to what you're saying. They didn't hear the part that you're an agent. They didn't hear the part that you're with ABC Realty. They didn't hear what you asked. You kind of have to stop them a little bit and make sure they understood the question, right? So, really common issue. Objections. You got to be ready for these objections. This goes together with getting to the three no's. I like acknowledging, responding, and moving on. These are the top objections you're going to get from this script. I'm going to include this in the giveaway. You guys can just take a look at this at your leisure. But these are pretty easy objections to handle. Actually, I'm curious. So, show of hands. I'm going to try and see everyone here who has done calling like expired, canceled, withdrawn. Okay, few people have done expired, canceled. Okay, great. So you guys know, compared to that, this script is really easy. Just look at the objections. Okay, there's no commission objections here. There's no how are you going to sell your home? Why didn't you sell my home before? There's nothing around that, right? You don't get those objections with this script, right? You're talking to someone that's at the very beginning of the process, right? It's early. Okay. But that also is a challenge. Okay. You're not competing with another 50 agents and I'm not making that number up. If you're calling expireds right now in some of these really hot markets, if the Northeast, Southern California, you're competing with dozens of agents to talk to these people, not with Circle Prospect. No one's calling them. Okay. No real estate agent. I shouldn't say no one. No real estate agent is calling them to see if they want to sell their home. Right. It's a very easy conversation to start, very simple relationship to start. But what's the challenge, right? It's not all beds and roses. Come on, right? This is a farming activity. Okay. This is going to take time. When you first contact someone on Circle Prospect, it can be 6 months before they list their home. Okay. It can be a year before they list their home. That's real. But here's the kicker. So are internet leads, right? Internet leads like Google pay-per-click on average is 12 to 18 months. People kind of they think, oh, I can close deals in 90 days. You can hit home runs with Google pay-per-click. The average Google pay-per-click lead closes buyer lead closes in 12 to 18 months. The average, okay? Average. Looking at a large amount of data. Circle prospecting is no different than that. Okay. The fastest I've seen a circle prospecting lead close from first contact is about 4 months. Sorry, not close, list. So closing is a different beast. Listing with you from first contact is 4 months. And that's super fast. I think that's the fastest you're going to see this happen. Okay. So average 12 to 18 months. The same as most internet leads, which is crazy, right? But guess what? You're not paying $600 for these leads, right? Like some of the Zillow Premier leads cost nowadays. You're not paying for that. You're not having to, contact and try to call them because you're only find a lead here if they're responsive. You don't. If you have a list of 1,000 homeowners, you don't have 1,000 leads. You got to call through that list and generate a dozen seller leads, right? That dozen seller leads is very valuable. Okay. If Zillow wanted to sell you those seller leads, they would cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to generate. Responsive seller, confirmed homeowner with curiosity about selling, right? That has a premium in the marketplace. Okay. And you can actually do this on your own with not a lot. I'm being serious, with not a lot of skill because you just have to know how to have a conversation with someone. Really simple to do. Okay. Your follow-up game needs to be on point. Okay. Because, like I said, this is a farming activity. You're generating conversations. This is very similar to door knocking. This is very similar. Well, not open houses, that's a little bit different, but door knocking, getting to know people, in the neighborhood. You just knock on their door and you want to have a conversation. That's it, right? That's how you build a really big business in real estate, having conversations with homeowners every single day. All right. And you want to follow up. So you generate someone and you're following up with them every 30 to 60 days, depending how far out you feel they are. Okay. You're checking back in with them. You're offering them something of value. You're seeing how things are going. You're sending them listings. Hey, I just saw this pop up in your neighborhood. It just sold. You should check it out, right? I think this is similar to your property. This is going to be a good information for you. You're adding value. You're showing your expertise. And guess what? While you're doing this, you know how many other agents are doing that? Zero other agents are doing that for them, right? Because they haven't registered on all these sites yet. They're not getting bombarded with all these emails, with all these text messages, with all this AI. Nothing's reaching out to them yet, right? You're getting them early and you have a chance to build that relationship. So by the time they get ready to list, it's Debbie, ready to go, right? I'm all set. Come on over next week. Let's have a talk. Great. That's awesome, right? It takes time, and so that's why I say. And another, this takes time. There's no buts about it. I think a great goal for having someone make circle prospecting calls is you make a call and you don't stop until you find one confirmed homeowner with confirmed contact information that has curiosity or interest in selling. Okay. You should pick up the phone and not stop until you generate at least one of those per day. And that can take an hour, that can take 3 hours, that can take 20 minutes. And then you decide do you want to keep going or not, right? But you shouldn't stop until you generate one qualified seller lead. That's what I call a qualified seller lead. Confirmed homeowner, confirmed contact information, phone and email, and curiosity or questions or desire to sell. Okay. That is it. After that, it's just a follow-up game. 100%. And that can be more challenging than generating the lead in the first place, the follow-up process, right? It's a one phone call, one text message, one email once a month or once every couple months, just to stay top of mind, add some value, and make sure they still know who you are. Okay. So Debbie, we got a couple minutes left, right? Want to leave time for the breakout rooms? How are we doing on
Yes,
time?
definitely want time for breakout rooms. And so, are you good for Q&As right now?
Yeah, definitely. Go for it.
All right, you guys, who has questions for Gus based on his talk this morning? You can raise your hand or you can just unmute.
Hey Gus, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well. I just really quick question. I do circle prospecting and cold calling for,
Oh,
growing my business. But the one thing I run into, so what I do is I use the white pages, which is, online phone book linked through my MLS, which is pretty convenient. What are you using? Because when I use that, a lot of the times I'm getting, landlines or dead numbers, and I feel like, going through this, I waste a lot of time. Like, do you use a dialer or a different site? What do you use?
so great. So first question I would ask you, you gotta make sure you're comparing apples to apples. So Jacob, do you know what your contact rate is? Like out of 100 numbers you dial, how many people you actually talk to? Do you have an idea?
I don't know. I don't
That's
track it. I'll just find a house and just call through. Like if there's 10 numbers
yeah,
listed, I'll just call
that's
them
fine.
all and then move on to the
So
next.
you're taking action, which is you're way ahead of most people in the industry. So number one, kudos, right? So that's the first thing I would look at, because what you want to be is whatever data source you're using. There's several. You want to be at least a 5 or 7% contact rate. Out of 100 numbers you dial, you talk to 7 people. That might seem really low for you. Like, oh man, 93 of these numbers were didn't pick up, or were disconnected, or were landlines. That's average for the whole country, right? That's what I'm saying. So you might not even have a problem. You're just feeling, man, I have to dial 100 numbers to talk to 7 people. You're actually doing pretty good, right? The best people in the country that do this probably get 15 out of 100, numbers they try to dial. So 80 to 90% failure rate is really good. In when you're doing an activity like this, and this applies to expired and canceled too, right? But Circle is even more so because you have way more numbers to call. So that's one thing I would recommend. Make sure you start measuring it for the next 100 you call today, tomorrow, or the next couple hundred. Track how many people picked up, not just conversations. People that actually picked up, right? Even if they hang up immediately, that's fine. But that's just going to tell you what the quality of the list is. Okay, and if
Yep.
you're in that, I want to say 5 to 10% range, you're average. If you're higher than that, kudos, do more. Like try to do more calls, right? Use automation like a Mojo dialer. Like Mojo's great for this kinds of calls. You can do a 2-line dialer, a 3-line dialer to kind of speed it up a little bit. And this is 2025. You can't go too fast because you're going to get blocked, right? You're going to come up as spam likely, or you're going to get blocked by the carriers. So it's always a little bit of a dance, right? Mojo does a great job at balancing your. It gives you like 10 or 15 numbers to call with. You can buy them and add them into your account, and it'll balance it out among 15 numbers, 10 numbers, which means it's just going to take longer to get blocked, in this day and age. So you're going to talk to more people. Okay, that's why I like tools like Mojo. And by the way, I don't get any referral fee from them. They don't give out referral. I've asked. They don't give out referral fees, so they don't need to. They're Mojo, right? So that Mojo is a great system. Mojo Neighborhood Search, they have data as well as part of that platform. I would try, if you're not getting with your current data source, you're not getting 5 to 7%. I would try Mojo is a great alternative. If not, there's a product called RedX GeoLeads. RedX is the prospecting company. GeoLeads is their product. Probably, that would be my second choice. RedX GeoLeads, very reasonably priced. I think it's a couple $100, and you can get I forget if it's like 7 or 8 thousand numbers per month from them, in that range, right? So really, really reasonably priced product. So I would go with one of those. But number one is you got to track those numbers, because that'll tell you maybe you're doing great. It just feels like, man, this is a grind, because it is, right? So yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Great to see
Excellent.
practitioners in this group. Holy cow.
Hi.
Julie, okay, MD, go ahead.
Sorry, Devi. So this is like a couple question, but if I can say on same, so this is a very good thing. So I was in Keller Williams some time ago, so I heard
All
about
right.
it, but I
I think
couldn't
weren't we
try
all
that.
at Keller Williams? Isn't everybody have
I
to go
left.
through
I
Keller Williams
left.
first?
I
Yeah, me
left.
too. Me too.
So two things. If you have a VA,
Yeah.
they can do that circle prospecting, and or if they would, like, what is your suggestion to do that to avoid any kind of solicitation and all those things? And like an email, if we want to do the circle prospecting on an email, how we filter that DNC so that we don't want to get in a problem no matter what.
Oh, 100%.
So is there any website?
Great question. Yeah. So, getting a VA to help you call is kind of what I do. That's what my company does, Power ISA. So, shameless plug there is what we do, right? So, but you can absolutely hire someone to help you call. But here's my big, big caveat to that. And this is coming from a guy that sells this, right? You don't want to start by hiring someone, right? And however, unserving that statement is, you got to do it first. Okay. The reason for that is you need to know what to do with those leads and those nurtures. And if you don't know what to do with them before you hire someone, it's the blind leading the blind. You're not going to know what to do. Okay. So you got to try it out. You got to have real conversations with these sellers. And preferably, you want to have some listings already. So you want to bring in a VA to a lead system works. Okay. You can get good seller conversations. Or like I told Jacob, you can talk to 5-7 people out of 100, right? You don't want to try and figure that out as you're hiring and training and managing a VA all at the same time. It's just more chaotic. And your chances of success go way down. Okay. So number one, you got to try it out. You're doing it yourself. You know it works. You know it's useful. Then you bring in the leverage. You hire a VA, right? They got to speak pretty good English. That you got to give them a dialer. You got to give them access to all your tools, and they can go out there and make calls. Your second question is really interesting, right? That's a compliance question. There's a lot of rules you gotta comply with. This is real estate, right? So we're a highly regulated industry. So, and this is going to be different depending on like what state you're in. For example, in some states, it's a 2-party consent rule. You got to tell them within the first 30 seconds, hey, this is Gus, and I'm on a recorded line. If you're recording the call, right? And some of my clients prefer to not record it, because they don't want to say that, right? So because they don't want to get hung up on or whatever. So there's a lot of these compliance issues you gotta figure out. That's why I like tools like Mojo. Mojo can help you handle things like DNC, can help you handle things like that spam likely. So the software can help us out here. So definitely be compliant. Whatever rules you have in your state, in your MLS, and your whatever, the federal DNC, you might even have a state DNC, right? So I use the software. The tools are out there to help us stay compliant. So that's my recommendation. The tools can really help here.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll keep it that mind.
For sure. Oh, Debbie, you're muted.
Sorry.
Hey,
One last, Julian.
Hey, thanks, Debbie. Thanks, everybody. This has been really good. So I'm a real estate professional in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I admit I am on a mission just to make real estate work way better for the people. And so listening to what you said about circle prospecting, I've done a lot of cold calls. I even do a lot of text messaging, but had never really looked at it like that. It reminded me of something I saw Gary Vee say once about the circle prospecting. So my question is more so, after you do the prospecting, what have you found to be the best method for continued follow-up until the deal, gets to the finish line?
So Julian, this is crazy to say, but a lot of the people that are really good at this, they forget to follow up with these leads sometimes, right? Like they mess up the follow-up. They get really good at having the first conversation. They forget to have the second, third, fourth, and fifth conversation. So you can actually get distracted by it, right? You're in the hunt every single day. You got your goals, your metrics, and you miss it. So everyone that I see do this at a really high level, number one, they have a really good CRM behind them. They don't use a CRM to put cold lists into. Once they have the conversation with someone, they drop that nurture into a system like a Lofty, like a Follow-Up Boss. And Debbie, I don't know if you guys have any relationship with any of these companies. Maybe you can get a good deal on them. Maybe you can. But if you don't, you should, Debbie. You guys are a massive, massive group. But you can get one of those CRMs to help. Number one, remind you of when to follow up with them. Don't go on vibes. Don't track this in Google Sheets. You're going to get lost very, very quickly. You want to keep your notes in a single place. You want to keep your reminders in a single place, and you can have a follow-up sequence. And this is really important. I want to make this distinction, right? Because those systems, Follow-Up Boss and Lofty and these things, they're really good at the automations for texting and the AI. You don't need that here. Okay, I want to be super clear. The automations and the AIs are for leads you haven't spoken to yet. Okay. They are for leads you haven't spoken to yet. when the circle prospecting, you've already had the conversation. That's the whole reason they're a nurture. You've already talked to them, you've qualified them, you've built some rapport with them, right? So a CRM, you can actually probably get by with a simpler CRM, like a Zoho or a Go High Level. But the point is, you need something to help you stay. Don't forget to follow up with them whether it's 30 or 60 days out, and your notes. Okay, I always, every time I had a really good call with someone, my last note would be, what's the next question I'm going to ask them next time I talk to them, right? Hey, how's the job transition going? Hey, how's your kid doing, right? Hey, how's that thing we're waiting on? How's that going for you, right? Like, that's so important, and you cannot mess that up, because if you don't have that context, it's like calling them out of the blue cold again, because they're not going to remember you, Julie. You know this, right? A
Right.
week later, they're going to go, who are you? That's normal. You got to have
Yeah.
some context from the last call, and that's what the CRM is for.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, you guys. Okay, a lot of great info here. Gus, will you stop sharing your screen? And we are going to go into breakout rooms. And so I am creating the breakout rooms, and I just realized, okay, 8 minutes in there. Oh, we'll do 10 minutes because we've got 15 minutes left. So we'll do one 10-minute session. And here we go. Open all the rooms. You guys go to your room. All right, you guys. What a great call today. Gus, thank you so much for sharing with us, first of all, what circle prospecting is, how to best use it, like great scripts. I think you said you were going to drop a link to a document or something that everyone could download. If you can put that in the chat, that would be amazing. Okay, kind of winding up the call, if you will. Excuse me. Last week, we had on the global international referral company, and most of you on the call actually signed up. If you didn't, I believe I have that in my, yes, it is Become a Global Realtor with one click for the Ref and Win. Click there and sign up. It's completely free, and they're paying 40% referral fees if any of your clients buy one of those properties. So make sure you do that. Jocelyn is our chat master. If you want the chat, type the word chat in the chat with your email address, and she will send it to you. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Gus, for being here this morning and sharing with us. And we will see you guys all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And in the meantime, we'll see you in the Facebook group. Go post your referrals. We look forward to seeing you guys throughout the week over there. Have a great weekend.